And I think the biggest question, if we can start off with, that I got, is about what comes Mel. Speaking of being in your body, the most frequent question we've got here in this pile is around physical sensations that are coming up, but they still afflict you. So commonly called triggers, or things that temptation, or bodily sensations. Like it was so compelling for this first part of your, big chunk of your life. How does that arise now for you, and how do you navigate or engage with that?
It's kind of hard to explain. The desires, and they went away. They were taken away. I don't know how to explain that other than to explain that the Lord took them from me. And it wasn't something that was just given. It was something that took daily prayer. It took daily meditation. It took daily reading and studying. I think reading and studying was one of the main things that changed things. It exercised my mind. It opened my mind to a whole bunch of ways of just different thinking and understanding. And I don't struggle with wanting to get high anymore, or the desire to get high. I like myself more. I don't know any other way to explain it than
Did you find that when you look at the first time where you talked about these interludes where, okay, I'm not getting high to bite, you were compelled, or the life situation was such that you weren't actively using and whatnot. Did you find now, looking back, that it wasn't just taking something out, because that left this gap, or this vacuum of something's got to fill in it, and then you just filled it in with more, use, or living in a way that was, not conducive to growth, and now it was this active filling that made a big difference?
Yeah, definitely active filling. Applying education, applying just studying and reading and learning instead of just existing, trying to learn what there is in this world. Why are we here? What are we doing here? And there's so much more to being here than drugging the gift that you have, this body, and the opportunity to experience and grow instead of constantly trying to destroy it and keep it down. Why not enjoy it?
Did you find, what were some of the longer term effects that you found yourself working through? Go back to college after your brain's developed at 25, 26, and life is such that you said you had kids and married, and you have this lifestyle that you are creating really in a new way and had practice at it. Any residual effect from using and abusing that made learning different for you?
From the suicide attempt, there was they said some brain damage. I don't agree, but they say short-term memory loss. So I do struggle with remembering some things, and so I carry around something and write down things while I'm at work and stuff. The physical damage to my body. I went to have some tests done, and they spent over 2 hours trying to get blood out of me. And the nurse finally, they brought in the probe and did that whole thing, and he just looked at me and he said, "Who tortured you?" My legs are scarred, my arms are scarred, they're all trash. And I said, "I did." The consequences and effects from that are weighing in right now. There's nothing that can be done about that.
How do you navigate finding a place with peace with that, those choices now, and living the consequences now? Or does shame and guilt come up sometimes when you engage that, or have you transformed that through the way you live now?
I do feel, a little embarrassed to share what I used to be doing versus what I'm doing now, but I'm getting past that. I think there's a lot of people in the church that are a little bit judgmental. They make assumptions. They're way out there in their thought processes. They're the ones that need to change their viewing, because the whole reason the church is for broken people.
That's beautiful. And I always want to acknowledge and just notice you. How big of a deal is this to speak to a group about parts of your life in a way to share and grow together with people you haven't met before?
It was a big deal. It was scary, but I genuinely can relate with your struggles, and I just was hoping that if I could share anything, that there is hope, opportunities. You can change your lives. You can accomplish anything you set your mind to. My biggest advice is always be reading something. Read something constantly. Be reading. It'll exercise your mind. It'll open your mind to things. Just always read. Read every day. Read something.
I think I found in my experience of growing into being the person that I would choose to be, is that learning something new doesn't go away. So the skills you learn now, it's not something to get through and get done and out of the way. This is the way. For anyone here who finds that, I'll just do this recovery thing and I can't wait to be done with this part, those are the same skills you need to get a job in something you've never done before, which are the same skills you need to now get a promotion, which are the same skills now that you're taking care of your elderly parents, which are the same skills you'll need that when you lose your job and you've got to recover from that, which are the same skills you'll need when your significant other gets sick and it's no one's freaking fault. The same thing that you use to decide today to be joyful or to choose to be less shitty, or to decide that, hey, I'm gonna choose liking myself versus hating myself just a little bit more today. Those are the same things you need, whether there's $20 in the bank, $2,000 in the bank, $200,000 in the bank, or $2 million in the bank. Money has nothing to do with this, what we do. This has everything. And if you can do this, then you can do anything. That is just how it is. When you said a couple times that I didn't do any real work. What is real work? What have you found real work to be? And what has it done for you? Real work for me was actually putting in the effort to learn something, to expand my mind, to expand my understanding, instead of dumbing down my mind, instead of just keeping myself drugged and not seeing what there is and experiencing what there is. But you have to do it. Nobody's going to give it to you. But yourself, you're the only one that can do it. You're the only one that can make those changes. And seeking knowledge is the perfect answer. Just to expand your understanding and expand your experiences and to enlighten yourself. At one point in your life was churchy stuff, Jesus Christo, Bible, Book of Mormon, church. Was it a big turnoff for you? And is there a time now you're like, I'd never do that, and here you are living and believing into a belief system that brings you just tremendous joy and light in your life?
Yeah. So it That was always, yeah, church is good for you guys.
Yeah.
Not for me. And growing up, we were the poor kids in a rich neighborhood that was all Mormons, and they treated us like poor kids, like we were embarrassing to them and stuff like that. And so I was, just kind of standoffish about it. But like I said, it's for broken people, and it has changed me completely.
What is, what do you know now that you didn't know then about having a relationship with a father, the way that you've learned to have a relationship with a heavenly Father?
The relationship with my father was not non-existent. My relationship with my heavenly Father is it's real. He hears me. He's not going to just give me something. He's going to expect me to do something, but he will guide me, reward me. His promises are not empty promises like my father's were. His were completely different. I understand that he had a mortal experience and he had problems, but I don't. But my heavenly Father. He understands me. He hears me. It's a real experience, and it takes real intention.
There's so many people in here that, well, if you feel okay, like noticing that are here because the parent-child relationship is really significant, and they want to make either their children and their parent relationship or their relationship with their parents, and they want to see improvement and make it better. Who's here in part to learn how to have a better relationship with either their own children or their parents or some kind of family relationship? And then if you don't have, so the majority, so if you don't have a good example or you specifically have a very bad example, where do you go to learn how you want to show up as a father, to show up the father the way you say you want to be?
So I didn't share about my stepfather. When my mom married him, he was an alcoholic. He was drinking, and he wasn't really not there. He was there for me when I was in my 20s and giving me employment and this and that. And we physically had altercations on the job sites and stuff. And but that man married my mom and took on three boys that were broken, and he did the best he could do. And when things changed for me, he completely changed too. He said, "There's nothing that I can see that didn't change you, but the Lord." And I got to ordain him. I got to take him through as his guide through the temple, and then I got to take care of him as he passed away. And it was, we'd been through some rough stuff, but it boiled down to just being real with each other, and that was probably one of the best experiences of my life, was caring for him as he passed.
You guys still talk?
He's passed away now.
You guys still talk?
Yeah, actually, yes, we do. Yeah.
How has the changes you've experienced here in the way that it experienced with your father-in-law, how has it shifted the relationship with your brother?
I'm really there for my brother. So he's in prison. Really supportive of him. My heart's broken for him. It's broken for his kids. It's broken for her family. But he just got caught up in his. He is a good man, though.
Something that I know that has made my life richer is learning how to have boundaries in relationships that give, they get. But if they don't give, they don't get. And actually that's the way I can show I really love somebody I care about, is I don't just give them my energy without expecting and there being some reciprocity there, there's some mutual enrichment there. So I see you. This is a quote or a statement from Bruce Keeler. He wrote the book, The Secrets of Happy Families. Has anybody ever heard of that book? If you have a family and you're interested, Mel, you have?
Yeah, I'm listening to it right now.
It is dynamite, right?
It is. There's huge things in it that can really change the dynamic of a family and relationships. It's huge.
One of the things they found in his research, and I think it's Dostoevsky that said this, is that happy families, all happy in the same ways. So if you learn how happy families are, you just do that and you experience the same result. Families that are unhappy in all their unique, special, creative, different ways. So you want to do you? Great. Be unhappy. But if you want to learn what you and other people do that are happy, you can learn it. It's something you can actually just follow the pattern. Somebody said, and this is from his part where, in the chapter, The Stories That Bind Us. He says, this week marks the 10th anniversary of the most popular piece, The Stories That Bind Us, where we revealed for the first time ever the stunning research showing that knowing your family history is the #1 predictor of a child's emotional well-being. What have you learned about your family history as you've decided to grow into who you are?
So my family history, they're all original Mormons, original pioneers. My mom's side, grandfather is Lorenzo Snow, who was a prophet. And then my dad's side was John Scott, who was a lieutenant commander in the Nauvoo Legion. Somewhere along the line, my parents got lost. But my grandparents and all them, they're all really good people.
What did it feel like then to go into the Navy, knowing now that you have military history in your family?
It felt good. When I went in the Navy, in boot camp, I worked my heart out to get color guard. And color guard was the high honor of, the colors are the flags. And only 3 people get to be the guards of the colors. And at commencement, they took it away from me because I didn't have family there. And we gave it to somebody else because they had family there. But knowing that I have family members that were in the military I'm grateful for their service and their willingness to serve.
How did you recover from that? How did you recover from doing such an honest effort and working so hard to achieve something that you're very proud of and no one that you cared about there to see it?
That was heartbreaking because everybody else had somebody there. But that became such a commonplace in my life, though.
I know there's a few people in here can relate to that you do something really, really well, and the people that are supposed to be there, they ain't there, or they don't even now acknowledge it or validate it. But what's true here, the truth is that you can recover, or that can become this transformative thing that you build upon instead of that only destroy you. My wife and I were talking about this recently, and the second thing you got asked most about was congrats on your 10 years coming up. And yeah. My wife and I were asking each other, why is a sobriety day so important? Why is it such a significant thing? So why is a sobriety day so important, and why is it significantly important for you, or how is it significantly important for you?
It's for me, it's significant and important because that was the moment that a light went off. Things changed, and there was a bonding and an understanding that I had never.
The light went off, like it got turned off, or like fireworks got.
Fireworks,
Okay.
yeah. And it opened, and so it was a process to get to that. It was a lot of praying and meditating and reading and learning and just trying to look at things differently and actually putting forth that effort. And once it happened, it was real. And I just that date is just burnt into me, and it feels good. Lots of people, everybody that knows me knows a lot of my history, and they always ask, how long has it been? And it's nice to say, it's been 10 years.
Oh, let's hear you say that again.
It's been 10 years.
What feels different about 2 years to 5 years, or 5 years to 7 years, or 7 years to 10 years?
Things we're good at 2 years, but they're getting better, and they're getting better, and they're getting better. It just keeps getting better.
Oh, love that. Now let's see. This is still kind of in the vein of what having religion or God or a code means. Did your religion ever play a part in your drug use or bring shame when you did use? So you said there's a time when you decided to, live a certain way, and it only lasted a few months, and then you went back to a way of living that was contrary to that.
So there was a lot of shame from the kids that I was growing up around. They were like, "Oh, you're smoking pot. And so it pretty much. I moved to a completely different group of people, and I stayed with them. And then trying to get back into the church, I think a lot of the time we create. This is what they're thinking about me. This is what and a lot of them, that is not what they're thinking. They have their own problems going on, their own tragedies happening in their own lives. Most of them are there just trying to become better people.
That's a crazy place to get to, right? When you realize, like, oh, he doesn't really give a shit about me.
Yeah.
Oh, don't really care about me. Oh, like, no one's here thinking about me as much as I think they think that I think they're thinking about me. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Ooh. What do you and Eve do now whenever you feel triggered? Because it is a we experience. Okay, do you help each other, or do you help yourself so you can show up for each other? That is a great question. So the first part is, what do you and Eve do now whenever you feel triggered, or I would maybe even say when you find just like old behaviors or patterns or thoughts showing up?
I try to be a really good example to her. I include her in prayer and reading, watching some videos and stuff that are positive and uplifting. Mostly I'm banking on that she can see the difference in who I am versus when she divorced me. But we did get remarried again, so we've been married twice. But I can't speak for her, but when we do stuff, it's always focused on positive and uplifting, and I'm trying to be supportive. She has her own struggles and heartaches and sadness with her son and stuff like that. And I just try to be really supportive and to be a positive light for her, because, you know, I dragged her through a whole bunch of garbage, and I can't expect her to be where I am, but I can love her and make things better.
So when together, don't we?
Yes.
Do you help yourself so you can show up for each other? Do you find yourself making sure that you've got, you know, I think an often way of saying is your side of the street clean before you try and, you know, because if her son's suffering, that's like, come be codependent with me, you know, like let me do your work for you. But if you're like, no, it's I will be there for her the way I can. How do you do that? Do you make sure you take care of yourself first and then?
Yep. Yeah, it wouldn't work the other way around. Yeah, I have to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and being the example and trying to be positive for her and supportive. If I'm getting codependent with her, it's gonna just crumble.
Yeah. I've noticed that often a telltale marker for anybody that they've made progress and then they want to know, like, how can I stay there? Fibbing. If you start fibbing, that's usually the sign that you are now going back in a different way. How did you decide that, I mean, growing up in a honesty was very not your jam, and now it is. So how does honesty and fibbing, you know, how's that shifted for you? What do you know about it now that you didn't know then?
It's a lot easier to be honest. You don't have to try to remember what you were lying about, who you were trying to deceive, who you were trying to manipulate. Just if you're honest and doing, you know, being a productive person in society, it works. It is so much easier. It takes so much energy to be a liar and a deceiver.
Yeah, exhausting, right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to ask this to the group. If you ask this question, you don't have to necessarily answer it, but I think it's a really great question. It says, you talked a lot about chasing, but what do you feel maybe you were escaping? And I'd like to ask somebody how they would differentiate the feelings of escaping or chasing. So anybody can answer, or if you wrote the question, you can offer up what you see the difference being.
I wrote the question.
It's a great question. I love it because you're the emphasis on the feeling. So how would you distinguish between chasing or escaping as a feeling?
So I feel like for me, like in my addiction, I was like chasing to be something else or be like not my own skin. Like I was chasing to not feel what I was feeling. And then escaping is like the actual getting down to like the actual like what feelings I were escaping. Does that kind of make sense or not really?
Well, you're not answering the question, but yeah, it makes sense what you're saying.
I don't know.
So when you talk about that, tell me did they feel the same? Because excitement and fear are pretty much the same in your body. So did chasing and escaping, when you think about the emotion, like when you think about I'm escaping from something or I'm chasing something.
It's probably the same thing.
You don't have to say what I'm trying, like I'm not trying to lead you. Like chasing feels like it's excitement, you know, and like turn on and exciting, and escaping is like maybe a low type of way or the opposite.
Yeah, I would kind of just asking like what was it you were trying to either like suppress or what was it that you were trying to like enhance?
Yeah, and the awareness has a lot to do with that, right? Where when you're in the moment, you might feel like you're chasing, but now with wisdom, looking back, you might be like, oh shit, no, I was totally escaping from something. So I'll ask the question again. It's a great question. Thank you for asking it, and thank you for playing with me here. You talked a lot about chasing, but what do you feel you were escaping? Or do you feel like maybe that's a different distinction for you?
So eventually it was trying to escape. At the beginning it was, I never had any direction from my parents or you know, guidance to what life was or what I was going to do. And it was all about just having a good time until I created a monster that was controlling me, and I had to keep feeding it and had to hustle, nonstop hustle. Then eventually it was like pull away from everybody that you were thinking you were having a good time with, and just escaping from them because it became all consuming, just isolating and not wanting to be around or even share drugs with people. There was just enough for me now, and because it had become such a monster. But I think my understanding on my purpose in life was just to have a good time. And so I was deceived. I just kept trying to, this is what life is. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Going out to party and hanging out, and this is the whole purpose of it. And eventually, it had to do with, always not having anybody that was really there for me. So I think that played a huge role into why I slipped into my opiate addiction and was just trying to erase a lot of things, a lot of garbage that happened. But yeah, I know I was deceived. I didn't think, why do I need a job or a consistent job? All I need is just enough money to go get some gas and go to Salt Lake. My understanding was really limited. I never looked too far past that for a long time, and when I got caught up in that world, it was chasing. But as I got older and things were not going so well, it became more of a trying to suppress that I've wasted all this time.
Do you guys see before you this incredible fighter? So I love this quote, I shared it a month or two ago, but it's just really great about the asking for help is like the sure sign that you will not stop, that you are indomitable. It's not asking for help, it's like when you're at the end of the rope and you're quit, it's the sign that you will not quit. You had practiced becoming somebody who had to win. When you were in prison, did you have to become somebody different so that you could make it through that? And did that, what you learned there, did it serve you when you decided I had to become somebody different through Lord Jesus?
In prison in Millington, I learned I had to become somebody different, and I learned that you could pretty much buy anybody with enough of something. And yeah, that was, within the first 2 weeks in there, I woke up in the infirmary. I got really beat bad. 19-year-old kid, cocky. I got shown the ropes pretty quick. And I looked for my own personal revenge and buying other people to take care of it, and just became self-serving, using other people to accomplish things. And that had nothing to do with the Lord. It was completely different when I learned how to become with Him.